Good day everyone. Today we will be discussing about the topic abstract expressionism. But before that, let us first know the contents of this presentation. First one, we have here the meaning of abstract expressionism. Next one is the history, and then the notable artists, and of course the examples of abstract expressionism. To simply define abstract expressionism, it is often characterized as a spontaneous movement of materials or gestural brush or mark making. In addition to this, it is also believed that abstract expressionism was never an ideal label for the movement, which developed in New York in 1940s and 1950s. It was somehow meant to encompass not only the work of the painters who filled their canvases with fields of colors and abstract forms, but also those who attacked their canvases with a vigorous gestural expressionism. Still, abstract expressionism has become the most accepted term for a group of artists who held much in common. All were committed to art as expression of the self, born out of profound emotion and universal themes, and most were shaped by the legacy of Surrealism, a movement that they translated into a new style fitted to the post-war mood of anxiety and trauma. In their success, these New York painters robbed Paris of its mantle as leader of modern art and set the stage for America's dominance of the international art world. And now, we move through the history of abstract expressionism. Abstract expressionism is a broad movement in American painting that began in the late 1940s and became a dominant trend in the Western painting during the 1950s. Abstract expressionism had a great impact on both American and European art scenes during the 1950s. Indeed, the movement marked the shift of the creative center of the modern painting from Paris to New York City in the post-war decades. In the course of the 1950s, the movement's younger followers increasingly followed the lead of the color-filled painters, and by 1960, its participants had generally drifted away from the highly charged expressiveness of the action painters. Let us now move on to the famous abstract expressionism artists together with their artworks. The first one, we have here the Watery Paths of Jackson Pollock. Jackson Pollock is remembered as one of the most individualistic artists in the modern era, as his works are full of creativity that seemed to embrace the modern changes that had developed shortly after the Great War. He was known for his eccentric style of painting that was completely different from the methods and approaches used by artists who had come before him. Next one, we have here the artwork of Mark Rothko, which is called Untitled. Mark was an artist who developed a reputation for painting various works throughout the abstract expressionism movement that were especially colorful and truly unique in every sense of the word.
So now, let's talk about Willem de Kooning. Some of his most famous works are those that historians who have extensively studied the movement notice being some of the most recognized paintings of the abstract expressionism movement itself. One example is the Villa Borghese. So now, I am going to introduce one of the most famous female artists from the abstract expressionism style of painting, which is Helen Franken Taylor, who was famous for her works that were viewed as uplifting and very positive, compared to some of the dark and disheartening works that were so commonplace among the European and American artists following the end of World War III. One of the best example is the scene with the Blue Six. And lastly would be a Filipino painter who was best known for his abstract expressionist works, which he utilized a variety of techniques including controlled drips, impasto strokes, and transparent layering. He is Jose Joya. The artist said that in creating an artwork, the artist is conscientizing his need for communication. The artist also said that he has an irresistible urge to reach the level of spiritual satisfaction and to project what he is and what he thinks through his work. His work are often inspired by the tropical wildlife of his home country, and one great example would be the Love Rites, which was painted with bold and vibrant colors. And that would be all. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you have learned a lot of things with our presentation. Thank you.